I feel like for the followers, people always expect the follower to not only, but you know what I mean, like respond to what the leader asks. And that's not the way that I think. Like, I will go and find what I feel that is what is comfortable for me in the middle of the dance.
In this episode of Forró Talks, my guest is Juzinha, amazing dancer and dance instructor, our guest here in New York for the Forró New York weekend. The main topic of this conversation is how we use our body to connect when we dance. Welcome, Juzinha. Super happy to have you here with us.
Thank you.
As if you're not here for already a week, right?
Yeah.
Juzinha is here in New York for a special Forró weekend. She's the star guest instructor for this edition. If you don't know her, Juzinha is probably one of the most famous Forró instructors worldwide.
No, not that much. Not that much.
If you follow the channel, you probably saw a few, I think 2 or 3 videos. She's an indirect participation in a video react. Yeah. Amazing dances from different times, different partners. And now finally, she's here.
I'm here. Hello, guys.
So, Juzinha, how was your experience in New York City first, and then at the festival, things that caught your attention, things that were special for you?
Well, I loved New York. I wish I could stay here forever. I think I've said that like a million times since I arrived. It's such a alive city. Can I say that?
Yes.
Like, it's always filled with art, with people like doing lots of cool things all the time, and I love it. And I also felt very, how can I say that? That people were very warm to me. Like this in the city and during the festival. I think that was the thing that I loved the most.
And it's interesting because many people have the impression that New Yorkers are very hard, very tough, very focused, and we are.
It is, yeah. I saw that.
But we do have a warm community.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly. Especially talking about the Forró community.
Yeah.
They were very, very nice to me, and I loved it. I felt like home.
Oh.
Like I was home.
A great feeling. Yeah. Anything in particular that caught your attention?
I would say that.
Yeah.
I wasn't actually expecting it, so that was something very special for me, especially when we're traveling a lot. Sometimes we stay for too little in some cities and some places, and it's hard for us to connect to people, and I didn't feel that here, so that was very
that's wonderful.
good.
So
yeah.
Here, all the New Yorkers watching this video,
Yes,
thank you for the super warm welcome.
Thank you. I loved
very
it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Usually in these videos, I try to bring relevant topics to Forró, to our scene, and things that can help other people. And one thing that calls my attention on your dancing, and remember the very first time we danced, I think it was pre-pandemic 2019 in Boston. I was impressed how fluid and responsive and light your body was.
Well, thank you.
And I think this is a very, very challenging thing to do because to maintain a frame, to be responsive in the dance, and at the same way be so light, so adaptive was something that really caught my attention. And we are talking a little bit before this little interview here. What would be an interesting topic that I haven't talked to anyone and I think could help many people? I think we could talk about corpo de dança, the body that dances.
Yeah.
So how do you approach your body when you dance, or when you teach other people to be able to dance like you?
Yeah, well, the first thing that I think when I'm like embracing someone to start to dance, I try to find a contact, and I feel like this is very helpful because it's also a good technique, but also because I can connect easier to the person. So it's not only because I have to embrace that, we say that a lot in Forró, you have to dance it really close because it is like this. And that's not the only thing that I think about. It's more like trying to understand the other person's body and to understand how do I have to adapt myself, because if the other person is taller or shorter than me, I always have to find what to do to make sure that I actually understand their body. And I would say that that's something that I think about in the first time that I'm having that contact with the other person.
And this is something that calls my attention because, for example, we do have a difference in height.
Yeah.
And it's easy for many people, including students, to, but what do we do? We dance with people of different heights. How do we have a comfortable embrace? And I would have to say that your embrace is much more comfortable than many other people who have a similar height in mine. And I think this has to do exactly with what you're talking about.
Yeah, like I feel like for the followers, people always expect the follower to not only, but you know what I mean, like respond to what the leader asks. And that's not the way that I think. Like I will go and find what I feel that is what is comfortable for me in the middle of the dance. So I would say that this is something that might be helpful for the follower to be more active, to look for that all the time. And I always think about the legs, the hips, that sometimes we only put it like backward like that. Yeah, and that's very tricky to find the contact in that part. The chest, the shoulders, because sometimes we stay like this, focusing on the posture. And because we think too much about this idea, we forget the contact. And maybe that's something that might be a problem as well. So that's something that I also think about.
This also reminded me another thing that impresses me in that sense, because if you watch some of Juzinha's videos, you probably saw how beautiful of a posture she has while she dances. So I feel that this balance between having a good posture that is good, that feels good in your body, that looks the way you want to look, and then adapts to your partner might be like a challenge for many people.
Yeah, and as I said, I think that people always think in extreme ways. It either has to be really pretty and something that they like visually speaking, or it's going to be very comfortable and maybe not that good looking. Can I say that?
Yeah.
And well, I'm so sorry, my English is not very good. You see?
It's very good, by the way. Very good, by the way.
Well, and I think that's a problem. I try to find a balance between both things, but I always prioritize the comfort more. So I try to understand what I can do to make it better from the inside, and then I try to see inside of that what can I change to make it look better, you know.
I see.
And
an interesting thing that during the event, actually pre-event, we do have a campaign where people from the scene who want to help the event get the chance to participate, and we have people who donate more have the chance to have classes, private lessons with Juzinha. And I was like there just watching one of the classes, and I saw you working this with one of our students about the contact. And the thing that reminds me, a feeling that I have when I dance with you is not that I'm making you do things or leading with my arms, but I feel that if I move my body a little bit one way or the other, I see an immediate response from you. And I don't know, it's a complete different feeling, and actually so much better when we are able to have this conversation body to body. Do you have any tip or any suggestion for followers or for leaders, for that matter too, how we can connect in a deeper way with our partners and have this really like fusion of movements where we don't know where things start, where things end?
Yeah, I would say that is try to forget more about what you want to bring to the dance and focus more a little bit on the other person. But before that, we have to understand ourselves. And that's what we did in that private class, that I tried to help the student to understand what you can do with each part, and that's knowledge. You have to understand what you have first before you try to do the other part. So once you understand, you will be more able to respond to something else that comes from that. Does it make sense? So it's more or less trying to practice by yourself. What can I do? Like just trying to bring the idea of the class. Move with your shoulder. What can you do with your shoulder? What can you do with your chest, hips, knees? Literally trying to understand movements, not Forró movements, but like randomly things. And then we will try to bring that to Forró, because the movements that we know, they are in different shapes. You have like round movements. You have like really strong things. It doesn't really matter. We have lots of things, a lot of possibilities, and to explore that we have to understand what we can do before. So I would say that this is more or less the tip that I would say, like just try to understand your body, and once you understand at least a little bit, you don't have to do many things, you don't have to know different movements and anything like that. Just try to play with it when you're together, and if you're a follower or a leader, it doesn't really matter, because if you have the contact, you should be fine. And to think about this idea, like being open to understand what the other person is saying, with the body, of course,
Yes.
you will probably understand it better and respond to it in a better way, I feel like.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. For me, it does, at least. It's what happens to me.
Yeah. And I would say there are maybe like a handful of people that I dance in my life who are as responsive as you are in terms of contact. People have different ways of responding,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Different body structures, but this is something that really caught my attention, and is as someone dancing with you, the feelings that is very liberating in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that that I can do different things, and then the dance is going to flow. And hopefully this conversation is going to inspire other dancers
Hopefully. I hope so.
to use more their body, and
Yeah.
actually watching the class also inspired me to practice more with my own body.
Oh, that's good. Good. And I would say that for people to practice more like that idea, because when we're talking about Forró, we're always thinking about practicing together. And in that class, we practice a lot by ourselves, like separately, and that's helpful. I always say this to my students, that you have to practice dancing by yourself, because as I said, you will understand a little bit more about your body. So when we dance together, you will understand even more what the other person might be doing, or what you want the other person to do. So that's
Juzinha, thank you so much
No
for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope you come back soon for
Me too.
another event so we can learn more from you.
Me too, me too. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so happy.
Foi!
Que rápido!
Você não pegou, não foi?
Nossa, na hora que apagou ali, eu falei, misericórdia.